Well, hello. Every gal needs a cowboy hat.
Scanning the room, you look for a familiar face. Everyone is a stranger. Your heart's racing, you feel nauseous. New plan. You meet 4 new people. Okay, 3. 2? You can handle 2. And then you think, I hate this. This just feels so fake. And before you talk to even 1 new person, you're looking for the nearest exit.
Okay. Crazy. Yo, who invited this chick?
My heart races when I walk into a room full of strangers too. Except it's not anxiety, it's excitement. I'm not thinking networking quota. I'm thinking, look at all these stories. And I get so pumped about talking to people that I don't know.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Woo! Oh yeah, we are talking stories today. Hi, my name is Gail Robertson. I'm with GailNow, Chief Curiosity Officer, and I am here live at the PTXPO show. And as many of you that have tuned in regularly know that I have a 3-step process: sign up, suit up, and show up. And well, trade shows are all about showing up for sure. And especially this is, I'd like to share, this is my first live show from a trade show floor. Well, no, actually yesterday was technically the first live one because I see Ray Zaganto has chimed in, and Ray was very gracious to do a live test with me and included an epic phone drop during the use of phone, which, you know what? Ray is one of those amazing people, showed up yesterday at the show. And, well, you're probably wondering, who am I sitting with here today? Well, this is none other than Dan Sweat, who is the marketing manager for the show, as well as a few other items related to some of the magazines in the Gardner business media world. So let's, without further ado, Dan, let's get into, I talk about stories. I talk about showing up. What's happening here at the trade show yesterday and now part of day 2?
Yeah, well, people are showing up. I mean, that's the great thing about, I think there's a lot of excitement in the air. I think people are really excited to be back into live events. We had the Amerimold show in September, and I think it was a great show, but I think there was still a little hesitancy from a lot of people to get back into the market. It's been all excitement this week. People have been thrilled to be out there. I've talked to so many attendees who are just, we're so happy to be out here. We're so happy to be making connections and meeting people in person. Like you say, showing up is so important. And that's why these trade shows are great. It allows people to show up and make connections in person. And after, I think, a couple of years of Zoom interactions, I think we're all ready for this breath of fresh air this week. So it's been great.
And I'm super excited to be able to be doing, a live and still using the technology, which is always exciting, to go live. Normally I'm at my home studio office, and instead I'm here live today on the trade show floor. So let's go over to our studio audience because we have a few comments from people. So we have Janine Lasseline Berglund. Hello, Janine. Janine is the president of Canadian Association of Mold Makers, as well as Automate Canada. And I'm also here along with representing my brand, which is GailNow. I also have been out talking about the power of our trade associations, including being on the board at Canadian Association of Mold Makers. And then we have, Inger's in the house. Inger is also doing some production work for me today. Thank you, Inger, for jumping in. Because we're going live, I wanted to just get a little bit extra help. And Inger is amazing at that. And we have Ray Zaganto. He said, hi, everyone. Go get him, Gail. Yeah. And he said, Don Sweat plays a mean game of mold. Okay. Let's talk about mold making cards. And, one of the benefits of being at this show that I've noticed is the power of how many people are showing up, how many people are connecting and doing fun things in booths. And why don't you talk about what's happening in your booth, Dan?
Yeah, well, the card game has been a big hit. The German Mold Makers Association created this game. It's called Mold Maker, the card game. And the goal is to gather the parts in card form to build a mold based on the component that you're trying to build towards. So it's sort of like an Uno meets Rummy kind of situation, but you're drawing cards, trying to build out a mold. It is a great networking tool. It's a great community building tool. It's also, we've had a ton of interaction today with people who are excited to bring it back as a training tool for their apprentices. And so it's been a massive hit. We're actually doing this interview right now on a card table because we are hosting live games in the booth every day. And we're doing it again from 2 to 3 today. So we're excited. We're excited to have it again.
That is great. And I hear there was a bit of excitement at yesterday's card table game. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I bet you would have heard. Yeah, Gail was our big winner in our first card game yesterday. She was very excited, and rightfully so. Yeah, it was a blast. We got to play 3 or 4 games. Gail was our first winner, but we had a bunch of winners from all over the show floor yesterday. And Gail sort of set the tone. So and she's been very excited about it. Rightfully so. It was a heck of a win. Beat the brakes off of me, that's for sure.
I have to say, one of the things I'm most excited is I have got a fair amount of bragging rights off this of being someone that said I've now built a mold, and I can now put on my resume that I am a mold maker. Thank you. And at first I wasn't sure about the card games. I thought, oh, is it going to make me think too much? But it was really interesting, and you're right, it is a really good way to learn about all the pieces and the different names for the parts that make a mold. So I'll just have a seat. Yeah, we have some upcoming guests as well. Very exciting. So we are definitely excited about the number of people that are here that are doing amazing things in the booth. So we have a guest here in the back. So Gary, why don't you have a seat here, and I'll have you up next on deck. So right now I'm just interviewing Dan. Okay, so let's back to the studio audience. We have Ron Mead. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Ron. And Michaela Junius said, sounds so fun. Yes, definitely. Lots of fun to be had here. So Dan, in terms of trade shows and benefits, what would you say is the biggest benefit for people coming out to trade shows?
Well, the biggest benefit is being able to create a network to strengthen your existing network. The mold making community is a very strong one. This show's really special because it takes the mold making community and puts us on the show floor with the rest of the plastics community. It's a unique opportunity to really form connections, especially for shops that do multiple processes that are able to easily transition and meet people from their mold making world to their injection molding world, all the way through extrusion and whatever process you work in. So the ability to meet the people in person that you already work with, keep those connections strong, talk about your upcoming year, your upcoming cycles, but then also meeting new people and building that network is so important. I talked to a gentleman this morning who spent only the morning here. He left at 11 o'clock and said he walked away with 12 potential mold making customers. He thinks he'll probably walk away with after the show employing 2 new mold makers to partner with him. And that's what the show's all about. And that was just one of many interactions I've had with a ton of people who walked away with the same experience. And so networking is so key, but also you're getting a chance to put your work on display and show off a little bit, and that's important. You want to show off your quality of work, and being able to put those products in front of people is so important, because a website can only say so much. To see the craftsmanship in person, to be able to hold a part, touch it, feel it, and see the person who made it and tell you how it went into it is monumental. So
thank you. And you know what? Speaking about showing off, a lot of people want to hold back from that when the power really is in showing up and showing off. You want to basically show off what you do and the things that you do so well, right? So, well, we have a couple of people, we have further guests coming on. Now, Dan, don't go too far because I may have you come back and wrap up at the end, but thank you. Yeah, so I want to bring on, so we have a couple of people. Stay tuned because we have some live wires here. So Glenn, if you want to come over here next, and then we'll have, we have some special, we have a couple of special guests still lined up. Yes, we'll bring, you got to stay tuned because we have some more fun on the horizon. And anybody that knows some of the work I do with Cavalier Tool, you want to stay tuned because we may be having someone from that booth up next, just possibly. So Glenn Starkey, that's a T.
In the business, that's what they call a tease.
Thank you, Glenn. I'm going to give you the microphone. So.
Should never give a Starkey the microphone. So.
Well, okay. What did I say? Never met a microphone I didn't like. My son knows that all too well. So, so Glenn, why don't you tell me a little bit about your, if you can, in a nutshell, tell me what you do with Progressive Components.
Hi. Well, first I'll start with Progressive Components. Progressive has been in business 32 years as of Friday. Fingers crossed that we make it. And we've got a good, we're a small company, but we've got a nice footprint around the global mold industry. We've got 3 locations in North America. We're based out of the Chicago area, and then also location in Singapore, and with a half a dozen pro compers in Singapore, and then same amount in Europe, spread across Europe. So we get that molds are global. They're built in one side of the world, run on the other side of the world at times. So we've got that team in place. What we do is we sell components and monitoring systems for injection molds. So various mold mechanisms, widgets, etc., standards for molds. But then years ago in the early 90s, we standardized the first mechanical cycle counter. That became, the popular odometer on molds. Over time, we developed that to be more than a counter, a monitor. So we've then built out further a way that someone can be in Detroit and have molds being run in Ohio and Mexico. And from their desk, from their phone, they can see those molds running or not running. They can verify that PMs are being occurring on time. So I guess that's more than elevator speech, but Progressive sells components and monitoring systems. And then I head up engineering and sales.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I find exciting with that is that to relate for people that may not understand some of the behind the scenes of what happens in the mold making world, the plastic world, is this reminds me a bit of like when I'm not at home, if I have a monitoring system at my home, I can sort of watch what's happening, and it's kind of like that. Would you say it's
humans are only going to watch more and more things to be connected to their phones and the ability to monitor or to send an alert if something is going different than expectations. So that's the same, you see control of your outdoor grill. Your outdoor grill is now talking to your phone. Just imagine for a $800,000 injection mold that's running off site, all the more reason to monitor what's going on in that mold.
And yet again, when we are talking about the power of stories, one of the things that's really important is to understand, when we're talking about this industry, is that the people, I often say, as do others, the people that make things, and then there's the people that make things, that make things. So you're kind of that one step behind, right? That is helping the people that make things to make them better.
Gail, great minds think alike.
I love that.
What Gail's trying to say, no, I'm kidding, is that years back, Progressive, we ran a postcard that said, the things that go into the things that make things, that's our thing. So similar sort of riff that we got.
So Glenn, you are clearly someone who understands from the engineering, but also marketing. I can tell that.
I don't know about that, but
yes.
but we know our products. We love our products, and we love working trade shows and getting the word out there on these little babies of ours that we bring to market.
And we also talked earlier about the power of supporting the community, this plastics community, mold making industry, molding industry. Can you talk a little bit about why you decided to, because you're a significant sponsor here of this show. Why did you decide?
Yeah, Progressive just looks for whatever opportunities. I mean, this is what we do. This is put food on our table. My brother and I own Progressive Components, and but prior to that, our dad was a mold shop owner. So we just grew up with the industry putting food on our table. So this isn't just like some distribution job that we're working. It's what we're, made of. So we look at any opportunity that we can support the industry. I mean, it's not a philanthropic, generous thing. It's just like, duh, it's just what we have to be doing to support our industry in the next generation of mold makers and mold designers. So yes, we support trade shows, and we work the shows aggressively. You won't see us, standing around looking at our phones. We work the trade shows, but then also we have something called Tooling for Tomorrow, TFT, where every year we donate products and money to technical colleges throughout North America that have mold related programs. We're entering our 20th year, and we just in the next month or two, we're going to pass $500,000 total of parts and dollars that have gone out to local technical colleges, not only to help the program itself, but it also sends a message to school administrators that there's industry support, and that's really important that doesn't get cut. So yeah, in the Chicago area, we teach at local classes and let it, just do whatever we can to be able to support the industry that supports us for our whole lives.
And I just want to say, someone obviously stopped by to wave hi. And that's the one thing about, that's amazing about being at these shows. And there's some, MMT chats is going on with Christina behind us here. I'm here at Mold Making Technology, and they have generously allowed me to set up for my show here today. And Glenn, thank you so much. And this is a good segue from going from your dynamic energy to the next person on deck. Because
before we do, Christina's interviewing the guys from DME, Scott and Peter Smith. So we want to try to disrupt that.
I can see he's a character already. So,
well, our friends, it's fun to, we give each other jabs here and there,
Yes,
but we appreciate you highlighting this exposition, PTXPO. It's the first time for this exposition, but it follows along the tradition of Amerimolds. So we're very happy to just have you be a part of it and have the whole room be bustling with mold folks.
It is definitely bustling, and you're right. It's so exciting for me, who, not originally from the industry, but learning about it and finding it very fascinating. And a lot of the people may be listening today to my show. I often talk about this, that, you need to sometimes get outside your comfort zone into your growth zone, because when you're stepping out, standing out, when I approached Glenn about coming on my show, he said yes. He said yes right away. There wasn't hesitation. And that's the key. You have to take these opportunities. And I think you're really,
if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. So with that, I am getting the hook. And Brian,
thank you. Okay. Next up is a very special guest. Dun, 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 dun. Look who it is, Brian.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Here we go. Now we are live, Brian. Just so So now Brian is, I would say, the king of showing up, the king of being able to come to a trade show. And if Brian's in the house, you know it. You know it for sure.
Well, thank you for that introduction. I resemble that remark.
So, Brian, at your trade show at the booth at Cavalier Tool. Now, full disclosure, Cavalier is also one of my clients, and I was in my race car attire, but now I've switched back into GailNow. But I might go back in race car because it's fun. So, why don't you talk a little bit about why you like trade shows?
Okay, so it's important for trade shows because we need people to know what we do, why we do it, and how we do it. So it's a great introduction to meet people. It's difficult traveling around because, as you might expect, we're global. We sell all over the world. So imagine the time you would spend traveling here, there, and everywhere. When you come to a show like this, everyone comes to you. So in a very short period of time, you get to meet a lot of people. You get to demonstrate what you do and why you do it, and you find a fit and you meet people, and it's a great way to sell. It works. It's the right thing to do.
And what are you doing at this trade show? Can you tell for the people that haven't seen it on all of our social media everywhere? You were talking about speed to market. Do you want to talk about that special item? And I've been highlighting this, that there's going to be a big surprise in the booth. So do you want to talk about what's been gathering a lot of attention in your booth?
Sure. So we are very much focused on speed. It's very important. And everything I do is fast. I walk fast, talk fast, and I drive fast. So in our booth this year, we have a Porsche Gt4, a martini wrapped Gt4, and it's fantastic, and it's drawing a lot of people. And guys like cars, girls like cars, everyone likes cars, and it's a great looking car. And it's my model. It looks great.
It is. And again, another example of showing up. And Brian, one of the things that you'll probably notice as a theme here. Now, Glenn comes from an engineering background, but he gets marketing. Now, you came from more of a marketing sales background, but then learned about the industry, but understand marketing. So can you talk a bit about how important is it to have marketing as part of your company?
Well, mandatory. You have to have it. You're crazy if you don't. So, don't look at us, but look at Coca-Cola, Coors Beer, General Motors, pick something like that. What do? How are they so popular? How does everyone know about their product? It's all about marketing, and everything is done through a salesman. Everyone sells something. You wouldn't know about it if it's not sold. So marketing is the key. It's the key to get into anything you're going to do. If people don't know about it, what do? You market your product. You got to get out there. You got to tell people why you're doing it, why it's important, who you are, and why you're doing it. And that's marketing. It's important. You got to have it.
That's great. Well, now we're going to go to the studio audience for a minute. So let's see. We have back to Ray Zagano said, great opportunity to meet in person with the connections we've made virtually. So that is so true. And Ray was here yesterday. You got to meet him yesterday. He is known as the manufacturing unicorn. Go follow him on LinkedIn if you want to learn more about why he is the unicorn, and also check out his podcast that he does with Allison DeFord, Manufacturing Out Loud. Yes, hope I got that name right. There's a few great podcasts. Then we have Elizabeth, who's from Windsor. She says, hello, Chicago. Elizabeth is the person who also, we featured one of her clients, Replatech, which is they make plastic filament. So maybe one day you'll go on a tour there because it's very fascinating. They do some 3D printing as well. And Ingress Road, now this is back to what Glenn said. I love that, Glenn. We must strive to support the industry. That's another thing, too, that Cavalier does well, supporting the industry back at home with trade associations as well as at booths and trade shows. And, here we go. Ray says, listen to this. Brian is one of the smartest manufacturing CEOs I've met, and he's a nice guy.
That's nice. Thank you, Ray.
So Brian's put on his new glasses, so we'll have to – no, that's kind of cool. Well, it's like – there we go. Very trendy. So Brian Bende, we have this now. Marketing is mandatory. Yes.
Marketing is mandatory.
And that was not a leading question. It was a leading question. But so Brian, anything else about you were here at the show yesterday. Do you want to talk about this show, which is a plastics industry? There is like everyone seems to be here. Can you talk a little bit about anything you want to talk about the show being such a massive plastic show, from 3D printing to recycling to mold makers, molders?
Sure. So the nice thing about a show like this is it does pull a lot of things together. So we're mold makers, and of course there's a lot of support. So, Progressive just, before me here, they supply everything in components and die liners and different things that go into our tools. There's etching companies. There's all kinds of different products. So it pulls kind of everything together. Everything that touches our industry is here under one roof. So guys like me, I need to go around and talk to these people. There's hot runner manifold suppliers. There's components, there's steel suppliers. All these things are under one roof. So it's a bit of an education. It's a bit of a meet and greet. It's rekindling those relationships. It's important. And shows like this are great that you have everything under one roof. So it's like a one-stop shop, if you will. Kind of walk in, you spend a day or two, and you can cover a lot of ground. Stuff that would take a number of weeks or months to do, you can do in a very short period of time, one place right here. So it's great. I love it.
I love that idea of one-stop shop, because that's exactly what it is. And again, for people who may be tuning in that are at the show now, definitely try to make your way around even to some of the other areas and catch some of the booths, because there's a great opportunity for learning. I know I met with someone from the Plastic Industry Association in the States, and he's giving a talk, I think at 2. I'm probably going to try to 2 Chicago. And then there's the time change. I mean, geez. Wasn't bad enough we had a time change at home. Now there's another time change. So, Brian, anything else you want to say to wrap up about, another thing we've often used? You were interviewed by Damon Postulka. He talks about being the red M&M in the bowl of green. And to me, you're the poster child for the red M&M in the bowl of green. Do you want to talk a bit about just maybe tell people about, because you said marketing is important. You have the expansion. You've in the year of the pandemic, 2020, I believe you had the best year ever. Do you think there's a correlation to being the red M&M and your best year ever? Leading question number 2.
Okay, that's a tough one. I gotta think on this one for just a second. At the end of the day, you want to offer things that other people don't. And think of car companies. So everyone can relate to cars. Doesn't matter how old you are, what you do, but cars are something that everyone knows about. What makes cars unique? So there's the simple cars that everyone has, then there's those exotic cars that are unique, right? We want to be that exotic guy. And what is that? It's about being different. It's about being better. It's about offering something that is not the norm. And that's something we try to do. So when this pandemic happened, we joke and we say we want to be recession proof. Well, what does that mean? Recession proof. I don't want to die in the vine. I don't want to go out of business. How do you do that? You want to offer things that not everyone else offers, and that makes you recession proof. And it's important to do that. So when the pandemic happened, it was easy to pivot. We could turn very quickly and offer things that other people didn't. And that kept us going. And we actually grew over 40% in 2019 when the pandemic. We make things for people that want to make things. And it's important to do that. So we accept these challenges. We talk things, we do things differently, and we help people do that. And people appreciate us for who we are and what we do. And for me, that's important. I'm proud of being that guy that does that. And I like what I do, and I like the business, and I think it's great. So that's my short answer, being the red M&M.
You know what? One of the things that, Brian, you do really well, and I think it's so important for success, is to be able to love what you do, and also connecting with people, whether you're connecting them with people at a trade show, whether you're connecting with people in person, or whether you're connecting people virtually. And that is one thing that Cavalier as a company, you've invested in your marketing, in your website, in your social media, and obviously, being here. Okay, we are back. Woo. Okay, you know what? Isn't life fun? I would say, I think that had to do with the reason we lost some internet was probably because there was just too much energy from Brian. I think it was just too much happening there. So I'm going to check with my show producer to make sure. I think we are back live. And actually, I don't think we kind of just seem to be rolling along. And we have here, I want to introduce Cynthia. Cynthia is someone I've got to know through the trade shows and also through mold making technology. And I'm going to have you maybe do a wrap up of I'm going to have you pronounce your name so I don't get it wrong, and also maybe give me a bit of an idea of what you do, because you wear a few hats, probably more than I do.
I do. My name is Cynthia Kustush. I basically grew up in the manufacturing industry. I'm the daughter of a mold maker, very proud daughter, and I am a journalist. So I worked at Mold Making Technology, senior editor for 4 years, over 4 years. Right now I'm doing some freelance work, but I've worked in the industry for probably 20 some years now. And I've gotten to know a lot of wonderful people, and I'm just so blessed to be a part of this trade, because it really is an amazing, amazing industry. And so I'm here to walk the show today and to visit with Gail and say hello to everybody and see what's new.
And, as I said, I've got to know Cynthia because of her work through Christina Fuges initially, and then through writing and doing some work with you. So I've contracted you, which is great, because Cynthia really knows, because she grew up in the industry, really understands it. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening now I know you've just got here today for the trade show, but this is a really big show that crosses all things plastic. So what is your take on just your initial morning here so far, what you're seeing, and how this relates to other trade shows?
Well, this is kind of a new step for Gardner. I know that. It was a Marimold, and then they paired last year a Marimold with the injection molding show. And now they've taken that big leap to including all kinds of aspects that play into the plastics industry. So they've got the recycling, they've got the additive, they've got the injection mold making, blow molding, extrusion and thermoforming. I mean, it's just the whole ball of wax in one beautiful facility. And it's so well attended. I think people are excited about it because it'll happen on off NPE years. This is like a mini NPE, so you get a little of everything that you need when it comes to manufacturing and plastics. So I think it's going to be extremely successful. So far, everyone I've talked to has been very excited about it and very happy. And so, I can't congratulate Gardner enough for making this move.
Definitely part of their vision. And when you meet anybody connected to the Gardner business media, you realize they really get this industry, and they also are building on it. And maybe you can explain a little bit more, because not everybody may know what NPE stands for. Can you maybe just say what that stands for and why it's important?
Well, NPE stands for National Plastics Exposition. It's a show that's gone on for, many decades. And it serves the plastics industry the way this smaller show does. It's got everything, all the supplier supply chain leading all the way up to the OEMs. I mean, everyone is there. There's machines running. They're making product. People are walking around with all the fun giveaway, but really we're all there to learn too. The nice thing about this particular show, though, is that they do have the Tech Talk theaters where you can get actual technical presentations and learn new technologies, strategies, and that kind of thing. And so I think that's a wonderful add-on for this type of a show. And people can network. They have the networking events during the off hours. And so NPE used to be held here in Chicago for many, many years. But anyone who's been there knows that now they're down in Orange County in Florida, and that's another great facility. It was one of only 3 that could hold an event like NPE. So, it's just a massive, you're walking miles and miles of aisles at NPE. That I can tell you. But so you really have to plan out your visit. Here is a little more manageable. I think you can do it in a couple days. NPE is a 5-day show. So, there's some differences certainly. And NPE is like this show on steroids, but
5 days. That is like, you better like prepare for that and get lots of rest, and definitely I wore my comfortable shoes today because I was around. I did get to see a lot of the show yesterday. Met some amazing people. As I mentioned earlier, Ray Zaganto, the manufacturing unicorn, stopped by. We had a great, I went around. He knows how to work a trade show floor because we were stopping at booths, and he has a very curious mind as well. And you know, it's interesting to really get insight into that connection between, you know, the trade shows, but also the value of, you know, the virtual and digital. And, you know, we've talked about this, making sure, you know, there's stories on websites as well. So, because people want to go check you out too. They're going to go check you out maybe on LinkedIn. They're going to go check out your website. So it's what I've really noticed now at trade shows, even on the, our little badges we have here. They have the promotion of Hasco they did the branding for the internet access. And when you scan the QR code, it goes to your LinkedIn profile. So clearly, LinkedIn is extremely powerful. And also the plastics industry is something that I've got to really start to really understand how massive this industry is. And we will probably be talking more, not on this show, but probably more, Cynthia, about the need for education on, instead of talking about banning plastics, what we really need to be talking about is recycling, reusing, reducing single use whenever possible. But banning is just not the way to go. And because when you come to these shows, you realize so much of our world is in plastics. And can you maybe talk a little bit about just touch upon plastics related to the mold making world?
Well, you know, the mold makers understand plastics. They have to be knowledgeable about all the different types of plastics because their customers need to mold that plastic in their molds. So the materials that they use to build the molds, the temperatures they run the molds at, you know, hot runner systems. There's just so many factors that go into melting and molding plastics. So, and I think today they probably have more types of plastic to choose from than anyone could ever know. There's a lot of filled plastics. There's a lot of plastics using recycled products and that were plastic before, and they, you know, and the industry is working hard to not only educate each other but educate consumers about these plastic products and the materials and what can be done to recycle and reuse for sustainability, because obviously no one wants to see our oceans and our, you know, even the sides of a road when you're driving along, right? You know, if you see a bunch of plastic bottles or whatever, it just kind of, it bothers everybody. And it's an important, very important topic, but the consumer has to play a role as well as the plastics industry. We need to work together so that we can all learn the best way to dispose of the plastics and, you know, not harm our environment or the wildlife that's in it. So, yeah.
That's a great way to sum up for the show, because there is so much need for education, and that's why trade shows are important. Because if you looked around here today, right, Sydney, people are stopping, talking, like it's really, in fact, I'm gonna just take the camera here just to give a little bit of a, let's just show here. There we are. So one of the things, right, Cynthia, that we're seeing is people are stopping, talking, getting information, really interested in, you know, being able to ask questions and meet people face to face. And yeah, so this was exciting. Thank you for stopping by. Cynthia was sort of a last minute. I said, hey, come on my show, because we usually talk and we have chats back and forth, but now getting to also see each other in person and be able to connect here on the show. So thank everyone for coming out today. Thank you. We will talk soon.
Come on out to the show.
Come on out to the show. Come on down.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cynthia. Okay. Thanks, everyone. And for anyone that stayed with us as we had that little technical glitch, and actually I had connected to data. You know, one of the really exciting parts about going live And I hope other people that are listening that are maybe thinking about doing live, it really is exciting. And, even if something goes wrong, you can still recover. You can still find ways to go on with the show, as they say. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I want to thank my guests today. A lot of them were, decided. I just said, hey, I want to interview you. Come on down and we'll talk about the Plastics Show, about showing up and how important it is to sign up, suit up, and show up. So important that, let me just see if I can, I'll turn around here. There we go. So thank you. Thank you for my camera person here on deck here. So, so branding is also important. And when I'm out on the show now, I'm talking to people from my company. And also I do work with Cavalier Tool. So I've been in their booth as well, but also connecting with so many amazing people. If you are looking to find out more about what I do, LinkedIn is a great place. I also have, Twitter is another place that I'm fairly active. Some background information is on my website. And I also want to thank Dan Sweat and the whole team at Mold Making Technology that allowed me to use their booth here today and, be able to show up and share the power that is in plastics. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day. I'm going to get back on the showroom floor because there is more booths to see, more people to see. Have a great day and see you soon.
Well, hello. Every gal needs a cowboy hat.
Scanning the room, you look for a familiar face. Everyone is a stranger. Your heart's racing, you feel nauseous. New plan. You meet 4 new people. Okay, 3. 2. You can handle 2. And then you think, I hate this. This just feels so fake. And before you talk to even 1 new person, you're looking for the nearest exit.
Okay. Crazy. Yo, who invited this chick?
My heart races when I walk into a room full of strangers too. Except it's not anxiety, it's excitement. I'm not thinking networking quota. I'm thinking, look at all these stories. And I get so pumped about talking to people that I don't know.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!